Anybody that we're considering for a biologic therapy for asthma is somebody who has at least moderate to severe asthma, and in many cases, severe asthma. And asthma is a genetic illness, and we know that children that have severe asthma often will go into remission. But once somebody kind of comes out of remission and has asthma as an adult, this is something they're going to have over their entire life. And typically, people who have severe asthma tend to continue to have severe asthma. And in the absence of interventions from allergy and asthma specialists that change things, these people are going to need these medicines on a long-term basis. So I don't ever view it when I'm starting somebody on a biologic that this is a short-term therapy, particularly in the range of asthma. Certainly for other indications for biologics we use like hives, you might consider that for the short term. But this is something that's going to be long-term. And so that's why it's really nice to have this long-term safety data, because I do shared decision-making with my patients, and that's a question that frequently comes up. The availability of biologics um, in the United States has really revolutionized how I treat people with asthma. I have always very aggressively managed asthma. I think everybody with asthma should live a normal lifestyle. I am not a person that's particularly afraid of the side effects of steroids. I'm more concerned about having fatal asthma attacks and not living a normal life. And so in my practice, I've had a number of oral steroid dependent asthmatics, but since biologics have become available, I now have one oral steroid dependent asthmatic, and she's not on a biologic. Unfortunately, she got multiple myeloma as we were working her up for a biologic. The good news about that was that we were able to detect several eosinophil levels that were very high. Being oral steroid dependent, usually when I would check her eosinophil levels, they'd be 0. And so I got the records from the cancer center, and we're in the process right now. She's going to have to be maintained on a biologic for the rest of her life for multiple myeloma, and consulting with the physicians at the university about using the combination of 2 biologics, which is not FDA approved, and why I haven't done it up to now. I really want to, not FDA approved and not research. So I want to do that, but this person is the only person in my practice who's still with asthma and oral steroid dependent, and it's because she's was getting active treatment for multiple myeloma and remained on a biologic, and even her I'm considering. Now certainly I have some patients with other conditions like sarcoidosis and COPD that may be more oral steroid dependent, but in terms of somebody that's got asthma who would be a candidate for a biologic, none. And it's a blessing for these patients. I just, we see the research studies that they present on the biologics, and they say, get your people who are dependent on oral steroids off of it. Well, it's just they've all been taken care of, so it's been a pleasure. We're looking at Th2 asthma, and that's kind of a little bit of a nebulous term for some people, severe asthma. I'm reminded of what former Attorney General Ed Meese said when he was asked how to define pornography, and he said that he couldn't define it, but he knew it when he recognized it. And I know that's kind of an obtuse kind of reference, but I know Th2 asthma when I see it, and it's hard to lay specific things on it. They have elevated eosinophils. They have elevated exhaled nitric oxide. They typically have positive allergy tests, but there's even people with Th2 asthma that don't have that. They tend to be steroid responsive. One of the things that I think cues me off is the comorbid conditions. They've got sinusitis with polyps. They've got atopic dermatitis. And certainly when we're picking a biologic for a patient, I'll look at the comorbid conditions. If they've got concomitant hives, it may lead me toward one decision or the other. But when we're identifying the patients, it gets back for me with shared decision making. I mean, I point out the benefits. This particular drug will help these conditions and go through it. This particular drug needs to be given this often. This particular drug is approved for this condition. So yeah, there are certain patients that are more likely to benefit. Certainly the steroid responsive ones. Like I had said before, that people who are oral steroid dependent, it's great to get them off of oral steroids.